Hey, what's up? It's Laura Landers, and you are listening to the Live Sick, Die Ill podcast, episode 1. That's right. Welcome to the intro episode where you get to find out what this podcast is going to be all about. But first off, right off the bat, I want to let you know that we are going to be releasing new episodes every single week on all the major podcast platforms. And if you would rather watch it on YouTube, every single Thursday. So like, subscribe, ring the bell, do whatever you need to do, put it in your calendar, or you can just follow me on any of my social platforms at It's Laura Landers, or you can follow at the podcast Instagram at Live Sick, Die Ill podcast, and you will get any of the info you need there. So let's move right along. It's going to be a wild ride. If you value personal growth, if you value living life on the edge and living life to the fullest, this is the podcast for you. I'm going to be bringing on guests. I'm going to be bringing on my husband. I'm going to be bringing on myself for you. And it's just going to be a chill conversation back and forth between you and me, or you and me and a guest. And we're just going to have, honestly, no limits. It's going to be unfiltered. Yes, there will be cursing. So this isn't necessarily for kids. And if you don't mind having them hear a thing or two of serious adult life, not that it's going to get raunchy or anything, but you know what I mean. You just never know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of a podcast and just keeping it real. There's going to be mess ups. And I think that's the best part about podcasts. And honestly, I'm stoked to start this with you and myself. So thanks for joining me. So let's get into it. Who am I? I am Laura Landers. I am married. I have a dog named Louis. He's a French bulldog. He is seriously the love of our life. I can't believe I just said that because it's so cheesy, and I hate anything cheesy. I actually like cheese, but you know, I can't eat that dairy. Welcome to LA. So man, 7 years here. I've been through a lot, and everyone's been through a lot, but moving here by yourself, living alone for 5 years, changing careers right in the middle of adulthood when you've been an expert at something your entire life, and then just switching gears. I've been through a lot, and that's what this podcast is all about. Not just my experiences, but people who have had similar ones or super successes. I mean, we're living in Los Angeles. People move here because they are going after a dream, a passion, a career, and that means they've experienced a lot of hardship, a lot of success, everything in between, and we're going to bring that on this podcast and share with you what life is really like and how to grow from crazy experiences, whether good or bad, that we might all go through. So go ahead and like and subscribe and rate and review this podcast if you're already seeing value in this, because that's seriously going to help this podcast soar. And I would love for you to join me while we soar together. So what is the meaning behind live sick, die ill? I know this is like the question, and I'm stoked to answer it. There's really no mystery. I'm going to share everything with you right now. So let me paint the picture for you. Cue music. It was a dreamy night, sitting on the couch with my husband, brainstorming. I can't even get through this. Brainstorming beautiful titles for this podcast. And everything I was thinking about was just too cliche, too cheesy. And if you hate the wooden sign up on someone's wall when you enter their house, and I'm no shame, not hating on you, maybe a little, but the live, laugh, love, I can't. I'm dead with that. So I was trying to steer clear of anything like that. And I had some pretty cheesy names that I just couldn't handle. And all credit goes to Jordan, my husband. He was like, why don't you do live sick, die ill? Which he's coined that term, and in fact has a leather jacket, his motorcycle jacket that he wears when he rides, and he has patches on it. On the top it says live sick, and on the bottom it says die ill. And he was like, use it. I asked him, are you sure this is your thing? He's like, I'm not going to use it. Go for it. And the more we dove into the name, it's a play on words, the sick and the ill. If you're anything like me, you love the 90s, you're from the 90s, maybe you're from the 80s too. Right, then it was sick meant cool and ill meant rad, or vice versa, whatever, right? So it's just a fun little live sick, die ill, like live life to the fullest. But I think what people miss, and this is my favorite part about this title and the whole meaning behind the podcast, is make sure you die living life to the fullest. Now, it doesn't mean be stupid, young and reckless, right? Like it's a romantic notion, but really you got to live life with boundaries and with respect for others and the law, whatever. But like, make sure, whether it's physical, emotional, relational, you're living life to the fullest and dying living life to the fullest. So don't live life in fear, right? Like, you will see me jump out of more planes in my life and skydive. And yes, that is a way I want to die. There's two ways I want to die. It's that, like maybe the parachute doesn't go off and I just fall flat. Seems a little dire, but it's really not. Or I'm in the ocean, I drive 30 minutes to the ocean and I'm swimming in the waves and I accidentally dive into a shark's mouth and I die that way. Like, how fun would it be to die doing something you're enjoying? So to take it to the extreme, there's that. But also, just to paint one picture for you, maybe living life to the fullest and dying living life to the fullest is investing heavily in the relationship with your family and having a good family, because maybe you grew up not having a good one. Maybe you didn't have a good childhood and you want that for your kid. That can be an example of living sick and dying ill. So whatever that means to you, there's going to be tons of different types of people on this podcast. And I'm so stoked for you to see all those different types of people, learn about relationships, learn about changing careers. And you're going to be able to take what other people have gone through that we're going to have conversations about on this podcast, including just some with myself sharing with you. And you're going to be able to take that, learn from that, be a better version of yourself, and focus on personal growth for yourself, because maybe you've gone through what someone is going to be talking about on this podcast, or maybe you haven't, and now you'll be a little bit more prepared. So that being said, if you value that, if you value personal growth, bettering yourself, learning from people's life experiences and little stories, then you are here at the right place. Come as you are, and let's go on this wild ride together, because that's what life is all about, is sharing stories. And I'm stoked to have you here with me. So right now, there are new episodes up for you to binge listen to, if you will. And I'm stoked to have you here with me. Please make sure to like and subscribe, ring the bell, or if you're listening on podcast form, to rate and review. That would mean the world to me. You have no idea what that does for a podcast. Or maybe you do. And if you do, then I know you're going to do it. And that means you real tight in this family. So thank you so much. You can find me at any handles at It's Laura Landers, ITSLAURALANDERS, or you can find us at the Live Sick Die Ill podcast on Instagram. That's at Live Sick Die Ill podcast. So thanks again for joining me. This was episode 1 of the Live Sick Die Ill podcast. I'm Laura Landers, and I will see you right on the next episode. Peace.